California.
By the Vice President and Defense Secretary. In a nationally televised speech, he made his case for striking out at Iraq if the stalemate over weapons inspections is not resolved diplomatically. He disputed Iraq's plea that its chemical and biological agents are all destroyed and cited Iraq's blatant interference with weapons inspectors as proof. Mr. Clinton said Saddam wants a chemical arsenal, and if he has one, he will use it someday. He finished by reminding Hussein that time is running out for a diplomatic solution.
We will act as one together. And we still have, God willing, a chance to find a diplomatic resolution of this. And if not, God willing, the chance to do the right thing for our children and grandchildren. Thank you very much.
Well, there is one face saving out for Hussein. He could accept a plan where special UN envoys accompany inspectors into the disputed sites. However, so far, Iraq has not discussed that possibility as the likelihood of U.S. airstrikes grow.
Pennsylvania U.S. Senator Arlen Specter reacted to the president's strong words today. Congress isn't in session, and Specter was in Philadelphia today. He said there are many questions about the crisis, such as how many weapons would Saddam still possess after an airstrike, since it's unrealistic to think all his weapons would be destroyed. The senator advised the president not to act till Congress can examine those unanswered questions.
We will be in session on Monday next to consider these very important matters, to ask some of the unanswered questions, and then to have a resolution which we will vote upon.
Well, Specter said he wrote the president reminding him that acts of war must have congressional authorization, and he said the president does not have a blank check in the Gulf crisis. For more reaction, we went to the place from which many local reservists leave the states to go into harm's way, Dover Air Base in Delaware. Delaware correspondent Lauren Wilson is there live. Lauren?
Mark, as you know, some people from the Dover Air Force Base have already flown to the Persian Gulf, so the president's speech came as no surprise today, even though locals here have expressed a real fear for those men and women and a real fear for the unknown.
I heard they have all kinds of nerve gases and different kinds of chemical weapons, and it's pretty scary.
At the Boscov's department store, President Clinton's speech didn't grab the attention of shoppers. Perhaps because people in this military town have seen foreign conflict come and go before. Most of those stationed at the Dover Air Force Base refused to talk about the threat of military action, fearing flack from the top brass. But those who did speak out said,
"That's our job, so whatever we have to do, like I say, we'll participate."
I was hoping it wouldn't come to this, but you know, we got to do what we got to do.
What seems to be the mood over there?
Here we go again. Yeah, it's been the mood.
Anthony Collier says the base has been busy preparing for the call to action for weeks. Dover's C-5 cargo planes will serve as the pack horses for the entire U.S. military by carrying supplies and personnel to the Persian Gulf. Civilians in Dover expressed mixed feelings about possible airstrike over Iraq.
I think we're premature in one way. I think it's a bad time to do it right now during the Olympics when we're trying to promote world peace. But in another way, I think it should have been done something long ago. We shouldn't have waited this long, done it right the first time.
We should have done something before. I'm glad they're finally doing something about it.
Well, there's no word on if or when more troops will be flown out of Dover, but this base is ready for anything. I'm Lauren Wilson reporting live on the Action Cam in Dover.
Thanks, Lauren, and that is our coverage of the showdown with Iraq up to the moment. Coming up at 6 o'clock now, a report from McGuire Air Base and reaction from Willow Grove Naval Air Station, where troops there are also participating in the U.S. military effort in the Gulf.
Then on to other news. Another storm, another day of wet, windy weather in the Delaware Valley. This was the dreary scene in Center City, Philadelphia earlier this afternoon as folks did their best to brave the elements. If you had to be outside today, an umbrella, hood, or some type of headwear was a must. And right now, let's go live to Broad and Olney in the city's Logan section, where commuters waiting for their daily SEPTA bus are doing all they can to stay dry. That's not an easy task given today's high winds, which is also making it feel a lot colder than it is. And right now, let's check in with Dave Roberts outside our studios. for the latest on the weather. Dave?
Well, things are peaking just about now, Lisa. We got a strong gusty wind and a steady rain. It's going to continue for a few hours, and then the system is going to slowly, very slowly, make its move out of here. Let's go to Action Radar, and this is the system. You can see a huge cell to the west. There it is, hanging off the North Carolina coast, then just kind of heading out away from us, and another cell developing to the west of us, into the western portion of Pennsylvania, on into Ohio there. That's where all the heavy stuff is right now, but we just have a steady, steady rain. So the call from AccuWeather for this evening is the soaking rain continues, as do the strong winds. The overnight low 42 degrees, but then the temperatures, once we reach around that mark, will start to rise overnight. The winds out of the east, 15 to 30 miles per hour, with some gusts to 35 miles per hour. Then starting at about between 10 o'clock this evening and midnight, should change over to just showers. The winds shift to the northeast, and we will start to see diminishing winds. However, for the New Jersey and Delaware shores, while the gale warning remains in effect, the winds out of the east 20 to 35 miles per hour, still with some gusts to 45 miles per hour. Atlantic City, the evening tide, high tide, is at 11:37. Call from AccuWeather for both the New Jersey and Delaware shores and the Delaware Bay is minor tidal flooding, and that's good news for those folks down at the shore. So we just have to hang on, stay with the rain gear. About midnight tonight, things will start to lessen, and that's the good news. Mr. Mark? Thanks, Dave. Now, the major area of local concern, again, is the Jersey and Delaware shores, as Dave points out. Lisa Quintana live in Longport now, where million-dollar houses are in serious jeopardy this winter. Lisa, how is it today?
Well, Mark, the storm wasn't as bad as it could have been. Still, the weather here on the shore has been miserable. It's been windy, rainy, and very chilly. The strong winds were the first sign that an ugly winter storm was coming to the Jersey shore. Those who ventured out onto Atlantic City's boardwalk faced 25-mile-per-hour wind gusts. What do you think of all this wind?
Oh, I don't like it. No, it's the worst. I mean, as long as sand doesn't blow, that's the part, you know? I mean, because when the sand blows in your face, that really hurts. It stings quite a bit.
By midday, there was plenty of blowing sand. Public Works crews were out on the beach along Ocean City's north end. What is it you're doing out here?
Just clearing the sand away from the end of the pipe so the water in the streets will drain.
Flooded streets weren't a major problem. That's because the brunt of the storm hit during low tide. Still, as much as 2 inches of rain is expected to fall. What do you think of today's weather?
I think it's terrible. Yeah, I hope it changes.
Have you kind of had it?
Kind of, sort of, but I still love the shore.
This storm is the latest in a series of winter storms. One boardwalk business owner says the bad weather is translating into good numbers.
These storm chasers, it intrigues people. They come down, they want to see the ocean, they want to see it churned up and the damage that it's done.
This Connecticut couple bought some candy and then hit the boards for a peek at the ocean. What do you think?
It's wild. Very wild. It's beautiful, too.
Now, the storm will reach its peak later this evening, and then eventually the rain will taper off. Reporting live on the Action Cam, I'm Lisa Quintana in Longport.
Thanks, Lisa. That's our weather coverage up to the moment. Yeah, Dave Roberts will be back with the latest forecast. Will be when he comes back.
Exactly. Know exactly what you mean.
It's the bottom of the hour, and WeatherScope is brought to you by Midas, the Midas Auto System experts. What can we do for you today?
This is WeatherScope.
Wild weather is wreaking havoc across the east today. Many of you are facing the threat of severe thunderstorms, tornadoes, and flooding. Well, good afternoon. Welcome to WeatherScope. I'm Lisa Moser. For more on this storm situation, we turn now to the Forecast Center with Dan Ackerson. Hi, Dan.
Hi, Lisa. Thanks a lot. We are watching the storm system, which is a sprawling, strong storm, which fortunately has lost some of its intensity in recent hours. There are no severe weather watches in effect at this time over a broad area, but there is a severe thunderstorm warning in effect in eastern Alabama, where Clay, Cleburne, Calhoun, and Randolph counties are under a severe thunderstorm warning. Earlier today, this same system produced a couple of injuries at Cape Canaveral when a door was blown in by strong winds at the Titan launch facility. Also, there may even be some weather-related deaths that occurred in the metro Atlanta area during the morning rush hour when severe storms moved on through. And 2 traffic accidents occurred and 3 deaths occurred. Additionally, there have been reports of possible tornado earlier today in the Greenwood County, area of South Carolina. And at this time, it's primarily a rainmaker and producing wind, high winds over a broad area. One of the windy spots where this storm is moving toward is Long Island. And standing by at Long Beach, New York, is the Weather Channel's Bill Keneally. Bill, what's the latest?
Dan, right now things are getting a little windier. We have a very stiff northeast wind blowing probably 30-35 miles per hour. Now the good news is with that northeast wind, it's not allowing that water to come in. We are still at a fairly low period of the tidal cycle. The high tide, by the way, about 10 minutes till 12 o'clock tonight. So we'll be watching the water coming up from here on in. We are here in Long Beach. To the east is the Fire Island and Jones Beach area. Back behind me are the Rockaways and Coney Island. And once again, one more check at our mast cam as we pan down towards Coney Island, all the way down that rather forbidden-looking boardwalk. It's a rather nasty, raw night out here. Not a whole lot of folks out there enjoying the scenery here in middle February. But again, it's going to be rain. It's not going to be snow here. The city of New York officially a ½ inch of snow the entire winter. On average, New York would get close to 30 inches. However, we are anticipating snow farther up the coast. And for the latest on what's happening west of Boston, let's go to Jim Cantori. Jim?
Thank you, Mr. Bill. Thanks for picking me up down there, by the way, on the south shore of Long Island. And here we are in Worcester, Mass. with no snow on the ground. Last time I was here in November of '96, it was up to my waist. I mean, we just had a tremendous snowfall in the early part of the winter. Anyway, the deal is the latest top 32 over 21, 32 temperature, 21 dew point. There's enough dry air to allow for evaporational cooling. Plus, we continue to get the cold air drainage tonight. I think I've seen a few flurries come by, but you know, you ask a weatherman and they may be a little biased on saying that. But this may be the first measurable snowfall in Burlington this month coming up. Winter weather advisories out all of Vermont, interior Mass, which includes where we are here, about 30 miles or so east or west of Boston, I should say. And there's a winter storm warning out for southern New Hampshire. They're expecting 4 to 8 inches of snow. Now, this is going to be the kind of storm, folks, that's going to nickel and dime us a little bit. We'll get a wave tonight. Maybe we'll get another wave tomorrow. And, you know, this stuff's going to kind of stick around through Thursday. So it's not going to be this big dump and then it's over. So we're going to have to be patient with this storm, but hopefully that will allow this storm to, or at least the road crews, to clean up things as they may start to accumulate late tonight. Back to you.
And thank you, Jim and Bill. And we are, of course, keeping an eye on this storm, which actually began developing in the Gulf of Mexico Sunday as a low-pressure area in the northwestern Gulf of Mexico. Where is it now? Hasn't moved very far. We show you the storm center is low pressure now over western portions of Tennessee. It trails a cold front down through Florida, and earlier today, actually last night and today, pretty heavy rains fell over northeast Florida, and a 15-county area now under flood warnings in northeast Florida, including Jacksonville, St. Augustine, Ocala, Gainesville, and Lake City. This storm is also producing the threat of some coastal flooding, as you see along the coast of North Carolina, particularly from Surf City to Cape Lookout. Also heavy surf advisories from Savannah, Georgia up to Cape Hatteras, and over a much broader area, strong winds, gale warnings posted now for winds of 39 to 54 miles per hour from Little River Inlet, North Carolina, all the way up to East Fort, Maine. On the backside of the storm, where conditions have been improving through much of the day, things are firing up again now. As noted over Alabama, there is a 4-county area under a severe thunderstorm warning. That for Clay, Cleburne, Calhoun, and Randolph counties. Severe thunderstorms moving to the northeast at about 35 miles per hour. And earlier, there was a tornado watch in effect for a portion of North Carolina. A drier air has moved into that area, more stable conditions, and so no longer the threat for severe weather there, although you could still have a renegade strong thunderstorm pop up here and there. But a broad area of precipitation, again, not reaching the ground yet over Massachusetts, but light rain falling now at New York City. And in the morning, we'll be looking for the rush hour to be rather wintry and icy for you in parts of New England, so stay with us. And if you want more details on this storm system, join us at our Weather Channel online service, weather.com. Now for the latest on the weather, we go back to the studio with Lisa Moser.
Thank you, Dan. Dan Atkinson keeping on tabs with the situation to the east. He'll be in the update desk at the update desk throughout this afternoon, and we'll be checking back with him at the top of the hour. Well, strangely enough, if you are looking for winter weather, you could find it in Southern California today. Mountains around Los Angeles reported several inches of new snow. Take a look. This winter wonderland. Folks in the Crestline woke up to an extreme driving hassle today. That's less than 60 miles northeast of LA, and chains, yes, chains were the order of the day to get on the roadways around Crestline. Local ski resorts in the area just have to be loving this, even though drivers may not be. And let's take a look at our surface feature. That low that you see down to Southern California associated with a frontal boundary, that's the system this morning that came in, brought rain showers to the Los Angeles area. But to the high country, the mountainous terrains above 5,000 feet, we did see some snow, and some of it was moderate to heavy at times. Now, Phoenix, Arizona, you're going to be looking at some showers, maybe even a thunderstorm, as a result of this same system pushing to the east. And Flagstaff, well, we're looking at some snow right now, so change will be in the order for you too. Looking at the water vapor picture, I want to show you that this system, the doozy that it is, some of the energy actually went a little further to the north, and so up around the Bitterroot, we're seeing some snow and at times a mix around that Interstate 90, along that passageway there. But looking out towards the Atlantic, more importantly, we're not seeing a whole lot of anything. That's kind of good. A little bit of an energy system here. This disturbance will push in towards the coastal areas of Oregon, Washington State. You too will be seeing some more rain showers and cloudy skies from this. But if you look back, not a lot going on here. That's going to give us about a day, maybe even 2 days of a break for much of California and certainly Southern California. That's some good news. We could certainly use the time to dry out, right? Again, this is the low pressure area. It came in this morning. It will continue to bring in some moisture towards Arizona and eventually even the Four Corners region. Now we're taking a closer look at that precipitation. And well, if you're headed down towards the border between Arizona and California, you'll be running into possibly a thunderstorm or two. That frontal boundary still has quite a bit of lift with it, and so ahead of it, we are seeing some heavy downpours occasionally. Now,